Alright guys, as you know, we are in the mecca of beer in Vermont. But I have to say, I think there's a new contender on the block. I was recently in Portland, Maine, and was able to try some beers up in there, and let me tell you, I think Vermont's got some competition coming.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. So we're going to maybe decide today, sample a few beers from Portland, southern Portland in that area, and without further ado, let's sample. Zing! Zing! We'll get back to talking.
Germans live in Maine now.
They brought their sour wheat beers with them.
We're going to be lit pretty soon.
Our first one here is from Foundation Brewing Company. And I'm probably going to butcher this, but it reads to me Zerzing.
Yeah.
Zerzing?
Sounds right.
Zerzing is a sour farmhouse ale with a delightfully tart and bright flavor created by lactobacillus.
Do we have another glass?
Hey!
Got a friend
Smell?
joining us.
Okay. Fruit flavors from the American hops complement the sour character of this beer, making it perfect on a hot summer day.
Sweet. It's
It's a
pretty
hot summer
warm.
day. Should be perfect.
Especially when your taste buds need a refreshing... Okay.
She's drunk.
From
It's
the
okay.
top.
Yeah.
That'd be a great outtake right there, though.
Or an intake.
Or an intake. All right.
Cheers.
Should we start that over or no?
I think we can use it.
Roll with it.
Fine.
Okay. Sorry.
TNA.
Okay. Zing.
There's it.
Zing.
Oh yeah, nice sour.
Mm-hmm.
Bam. Thirst quenching. Awesome.
I do taste more sour than the previous sours we've tried.
Yeah. Tongue puckering.
Yeah, nice tart sour.
Yeah. It's not so sweet like the others, right?
Yeah, very dry, crisp. Super high carb, which is awesome on this style. No fruit, so I've been drinking a lot of sours recently. A lot of
yes.
them have been fruited. No fruit in this one. Not needed even, I don't think.
No, that sour tart's almost like a fruit, but
Might not be as ideal for a first-time sour drinker.
Probably not.
But, I mean, they might enjoy it. It's just not...
It's super tart.
Yeah.
Not necessarily an introductory.
sharp,
beer.
crisp, refreshing.
Not funky, really.
So-
No.
Maybe, just a touch.
hurt.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Pilsen malt, Maine-grown wheat, and Maine-grown two-row. So that's pretty cool. So
Well, that's fabulous. It's awesome to
utilizing-
see locally grown products. Because a lot of people, you're getting it grown wherever, shipped in,
Right.
and then they're malting it, which is very awesome too. I don't want to take that away from the malters, but rather than just malting it there, you're growing it there.
Right, it's awesome.
You know?
So, a IBU test. Who wants to test? How many IBUs in this bad boy?
So, I'm thinking it's going to be lower than I expect, though.
So, I'll give you some brewer talk. So, usually sours is
Good.
not got
30.
a...
My guess I'd cheat say it's below 13 because it tastes like lactobacillus.
So, you got 30, 13 back. What do you think?
10.
Back takes it, I think. Or close. 24.
Oh.
I'm surprised it's that high.
So-
That,
Me too, honestly. Final gravity?
So, can we talk a little about... Oh,
Lacto?
I'm guessing.
1006.
12.
Wow,
Yeah,
it's got to be
surprised.
that wheat.
Yeah.
112.
Very impressive.
Yep, 1.012.
As opposed to 12%.
Correct. Yeah, this was that.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
only a 4.5% beer. So
Very
pretty
easy drinking.
typical with sours.
So, the lactobacillus should not affect the IBU, but the hops should. Bittering hops.
So the hops are a direct reflection of what the IBU would be. Typically in sour beers, you don't want the hops to be the star of the show. You just want them to kind of be there, bitter obviously, but also add some flavor. This isn't a dry hop sour. There's a lot of dry hop sours now, so that would add aroma obviously. But it doesn't say. But I'm wondering if their Cascade was probably even grown in Maine itself.
I was wondering that, too.
These folks seem like a brewery likes to use local. So
Does it say like we wouldn't know by looking at the can if it's pelletized or
No, I mean, they would have to specify.
most likely though.
Yeah.
But yeah, kudos to Foundation Brewing for an awesome
Good stuff.
sour ale in Portland. I would check them out. A couple other small breweries, Austin Street,
Battery Steel.
thanks,
Oh, yeah.
Beck,
I've had some of their stuff.
in that complex. And of course, Allagash sits right there as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
So,
A few hours.
our next one. I don't really think we need a rinse on this since we're drinking sours. So
It's a cool can.
this is a Liquid Riot. They're right in downtown Portland. Pretty awesome place.
Get a hotel downtown, walk over to the brewery.
They also, very little point for you folks, they also have a distillery on site.
Wow.
Oh.
Very interesting.
Yep, so when
Same building?
Same
I don't
building.
think
When
I've ever seen a combo like
when
that.
I walked in,
Yeah.
the first thing you saw was the distillery. Then you take a few more steps and
That is
you can see the
sweet.
brew house. It's pretty cool. So it's not an open brew house, but you can see it. Like you can see it functioning.
Does their mash for their brew supplement their distilling?
I don't know, to be honest with you. When I was there, they had a gigantic, it looked like an open vat, an open fermenter, if you will. And I saw a huge krausen on top. This was in the distilling side. And all of a sudden it was bloop. So it was actively, the distilling process was actively happening right there, open in there.
That's
so
really
it was
cool.
like, that's pretty cool to see.
That is.
So, so this guy is a sour wheat beer with loads of tropical fruit.
I did take a sneak sniff.
You can't really smell any fruit in it.
You get that
I
little
smell mango or something.
Yeah, kind of like
yeah.
pineapple or something.
Yeah.
mango.
It's light. It's light. But
guava.
Yeah. It does seem to blend in. I haven't even tried it yet, but it seems to mask the...
I feel like I pick up a sweet biscuitiness, like a honey malt or something in the smell.
I definitely get it on the taste.
The
Not
fruit.
quite as
Yeah.
not quite as sharp as the Foundation sour.
The fruit's definitely in the flavor.
Yeah.
A lot stronger than what you're smelling.
Yep.
This is a good one for tubing.
This is like canoeing, tubing, sitting back.
Lawnmower beer. as we've
Yeah.
I like
said
this
before.
almost neon yellow color
Yeah.
to it. I wonder if the kind of haze from the fruit
It's gotta be fruit
plays to
haze.
that.
And the
It,
wheat.
I don't believe it is, but it almost has that flavor reminiscent of like a rhubarb. That
Yeah.
I think the sour
real
helps bring that
citrusy,
forward.
but yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately,
point.
they don't
Yeah, that
tell
bitterness.
us a lot about it.
Sour, bitter.
Almost smells like stone fruit.
Looks like
Stone
this
fruit?
was a looks like this was a collaboration with the
That's
Beer
legal,
Cellar,
man.
which is a beer store in Maine. So
The beer cellar
the Beer Cellar
with a C, not an S, right?
yes,
They sell beer too, though.
and beer BIER.
The cellars of the beer cellar.
German.
Yeah. So
Oh,
Nice.
yeah, Liquid Riot, awesome little place to try out, and I think they did a fine job with the mixed fruits.
The aroma's pretty nice. The taste is nicer.
And as it sits a little bit, I'm starting to get, like, if I'm smelling it now, I'm definitely getting some stronger fruit on the nose.
yeah. I feel the same thing. When I started smelling it
Oh,
after
yeah.
I had sipped it, I don't know if it's just how closely related your taste and smell is.
Yeah, it's pretty subdued in the sourness, though. It's more like I would drink this for breakfast.
Yeah.
It's like a breakfast
It,
juice.
got an
good
extra,
introductory
you know what I mean? Yeah.
sour, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, if you told me this was just a straight juice that, without alcohol in it, I might believe you. There's not a real beery flavor, if that's a term. So,
It's almost like a beer version of a mimosa or something.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
a good point.
delicious
Similar
nonetheless. But yeah.
Yeah,
I
we were
wish we
talking-
had some info on it, but like we did with this one, but
It really doesn't say anything useful.
it does
All
not.
Those words
It
on
tells
the
a lot
can.
about themselves, but
that's
not a
one- yeah.
lot about the actual beer itself.
So the can's for marketing as well.
Yeah. So I don't get paid to say this, but maybe it would be a good opportunity to go on Untapped, the app.
Yes.
Because I know I often get a lot more information. And I'm like, what the heck is this? Hop on there.
Interesting tidbit on here. It's located just blocks from the city hall and the location of the Portland Rum Riot of 1855.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know a lot about a rum riot, but it sounds like a good time or a
Maybe
bad
hence
time.
the
I'm not sure.
name, Liquid Riot. Like
Yeah,
that plays
I think
into
it's-
the whole.
I think it says a little something about the history of the brewery, perhaps.
All right. Hopped on the Untapped app. So details: guava, mango, passion fruit sour,
Nice.
brewed in collaboration with the beer cellar. So give us a little more,
The more you
info
know.
on there. So pretty cool. So kudos to them, and next time you're in Portland, Maine, please feel free to check out, obviously, Foundation,
Yeah.
Liquid Riot, Bissell Brothers. There's a whole laundry list of folks to check out up there. They're really blowing it up in Portland, so yeah, check them out.
So the IPA, India Pale Ale, belongs to the broader category of pale ale. So this beer is typically 6 to 7% alcohol by volume. It's typically a reddish to orangish colored beer. You get a lot of flavors from both the malt and the hops, oftentimes very well balanced. 1700s, 1800s England, they would send a lot of their pale ale down to India. In order to make this journey, they would start with more of the alcohol and more of the hops than your traditional pale ale. Now, all of this is very interesting because there is some speculation that the hop industry actually created this and made this news and said, hey, you need to add more of the hops. Regardless of the technicality of that, whether that's true, the IPA today holds a place in every beer shelf across America and the entire world. The process behind it is the same as any other process. You've got your grains, you steep them, but with an IPA in particular, you really are going to emphasize that hop character and the hop quantity as well as the malt. Gotta love IPAs.
If you're brewing today, you're doing it because you love the process. My wife loves cooking. You know, we could easily eat well without her cooking, but she loves cooking. It's her favorite thing. If she could spend the whole day just making something in the kitchen, she's happy. And that's really what I think homebrewing is about today. It's about the people who really love the process, and they really love the activity, and they love the traditions, and they love, you know, all the parts of it. I don't know if you're brewing today because you think you're going to do a better job than what's being done commercially. I beg to differ with you. You know, I got involved in craft beer in '93, which was, I would call, the end of the first generation. The world of 1993, 1990, up until 97, 98, which was the first real adjustment in the industry, it was a group of brewers nationwide who were really passionate about this thing called craft beer. And our goal was to create a category. And it was called the Brewers Association of America, and all the heritage brewer owners that you would recognize, you know, from Anchor Steam to Deschutes to Sierra Nevada to Boston Beer, you know, they were all involved in this group, and you know, we all worked together to try to figure out how to grow the category. Nobody was terribly interested in stealing customers from the other one because there weren't enough customers to steal if we didn't work together. And you know, over the years, then 97, 98, there was a real correction. Things had gotten a little bit too far out of control. By that I mean too many breweries shipping beer too far away, not protecting the codes. Beer is perishable. And you know, one of the things that I really hold the Brewers Association responsible for is they keep talking about quality, yet they don't have a code for it to be a member of the Brewers Association. You have to code date your product. It's the only perishable product that I can think of where it's not mandatory to tell the consumer when you should not drink this product by. I understand all the logic for not doing it, but to me, again, these are the things that should have been done early on to grow the category based on quality, well-preserved beer. So 97, 98, there was a real falling out. Brewers had gotten way too far ahead of the market in where they were selling their beer. It pulled back. A bunch of breweries went out of business. And then around the year 2000, it restarted again. And that started a real growth. And in the last 5 to 8 years, that growth has been exponential. Some numbers. You know, in the turn of the 20th century, early 1900s, there were about 2,000 breweries in America. You know, and then after Prohibition, after the Depression, you know, by 1970, I think there were like 60 breweries left. And of those 60 breweries, I think there were only about 40 companies. So there were a bunch of companies that had multiple breweries. So it had really consolidated. You know, the big breweries had bought up all the regionals and had consolidated that business. And then, you know, comes the late 80s, early 90s, and all of a sudden, breweries started popping up again. And I think when we started, you know, there were probably 200 breweries, 100, 200 breweries in the country. Today, there are about 7,000.
Welcome back to Cooking with Scuttle. Finally, we are about to brew Scuttlebutt Lager just for you. And this is my great friend Ross Richards. We go way back, and we developed this beer together. We are kind of aiming for some very specific flavors.
Scuttlebutt Lager, crisp and refreshing. The grain bill on it is a US 2-row. To that, we're adding chocolate malts, we're adding rye malt, a little bit of aromatic malt, and all these together just come forwards in the beer to make a really English toffee, caramel, butterscotch, coffee flavored beer that's easy to drink and not overpowering.
And so out of that, we got Scuttlebutt Lager. We nailed it on the first shot. This guy made it happen.
We start out with our base malt. You add some specialty malts in to get that caramel, toffee flavors that we were talking about. You steep that grain and pull out all the beautiful sugars just naturally trapped in them. And from there, you go to a boil. Yeah, dude.
Scuttlebutt 2.0.
You add hops during the boil to add a nice floral balancing act between the malt and hops. You're going to go into a fermenter. You're going to let it sit there with the yeast working on the beer, turning those sugars into alcohol for us.
We actually determined on this particular beer after a couple batches that I think what was our sweet spot. We lagered it for about 3 months and we really developed the flavor we were going for.
Absolutely. The lagering time at 3 months in particular for this beer, it brought out the best of the character in that beer. Very crisp, easy to drink, refreshing, great for sharing with friends.
You just got a glimpse into the world of craft brewing. People put their creativity and their souls into these excellent brews.
Where the passion meets the artistry and meets the love right here in the glass.
It's easier than you think to brew beer at home. You go to your local brew shop, ask a lot of questions, and you can brew beer at home.
Absolutely.
Try it out, you're not going to regret it. Thank you very much for joining us today. We brewed Scuttlebutt Lager just for you. Tune in next time and we'll teach you how to make or brew something else.
Roast.
On That Beer Show, we do like to emphasize the passion, creativity, and the love that goes into each pint. I'd like to encourage you, in an expression of thanks, to kiss your brewer today. We often compliment our waiters and waitresses. We tip our Uber drivers. You do tip, don't you? But what about that lovely brewer that poured his or her soul into your mouth? In the form of that beverage that we all love so much, I am here to say, thank your brewer. Kiss your brewer the next time you enjoy that tasty pint, or when you get a sample and it lights up your eyes. Kiss your brewer. If you enjoy a nice tall beer after a long day, express yourself by thanking your brewer. Do you think your brewer is living the dream, working the glorious life, creating that delicate balance of flavors that dances on your tongue? Did you ever stop to think that your brewer is actually a glorified janitor? After all, a significant part of brewing is time spent cleaning. He or she is on their knees working so hard to please you. Scrubbing, cleaning, and working hard, of course. And then that tasty liquid goes down your throat and you smile. But seriously, brewers, just like chefs or any other person who dedicates their life to the skilled profession, so here's a big thank you to brewers everywhere, from That Beer Show and from Cat TV. So we're just here to talk to Ross, and he's going to give us a little insight into his, I guess you could call it a brewing career at this point, actually.
It is.
So Ross, what got you interested in brewing first? Because I know you probably liked some beer, but how did that begin, where you're like, I'm going to make it?
Yeah, interesting story. My father-in-law and I, sitting out at camp, as we often do, had a couple, listened to some good bands.
A couple,
you know,
several.
Yeah, a good night, a couple shots of whiskey probably. And he used to always tell me, you know, I used to make beer way back in the day, and that really intrigued me. I was like, that's so cool that you could make your own.
Seriously.
I hadn't even thought of where it comes from, who makes it, how my
it's just
here
there
it
in
is.
the bottle. Yeah.
Exactly, and so that's what put that idea there. And he took me down to the store. We got our first Brewer's Best kit from the local store here, brewed it up.
Nice 5-gallon
It
batch,
was
right?
5-gallon, yeah, fairly decent.
sweet.
Don't remember a lot about it. I'm sure I would nitpick it at this point in my my
Of
career.
course, yeah.
But that's what really set it off for me. It was just, and that's what craft brewing is to me too. It's good friends, good conversations. That's where it started. You know,
Yeah.
it was hold my beer and watch this. You know.
Oh, then
So,
you never know what's going to happen next.
Exactly.
So what happened after that? Like, so you ended up probably practicing a little bit, and then it kind of developed from there, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, started kind of playing around, saying, well, what is this beer style? What is that?
Yep.
I know I like this beer, so I'd kind of go look up these beers I liked and get a general idea. And there's a huge support from the homebrewing community out there. I mean, if you like a particular beer, look it up. Sometimes they even have a clone beer of it. But for me, it was look these up, try to find different grains or malts or stuff that you can put together, and it didn't take me long to start making my own recipes. I never was a fan of following somebody else's recipe or just,
Agreed.
you
Yeah.
know, this goes here. And that. I didn't want it to be a process. I wanted it to be
Yeah.
an art. It was fun.
Yeah, I like to cook, so it's kind of, I almost never go online, find a recipe, and just make it exactly like that. Even if I just tweak it a little, like if I'm baking something, I might add in some chocolate chips.
So it's your
Or
own
I might
signature, your own preference.
reduce
yeah.
the sugar a little bit and use wheat flour instead of white flour or something. But
Yep.
so do you find it's kind of similar with that, like your recipes and developing your own beers?
Absolutely, very similar. I know when I first started, as I said, it was kits. So you get this prepackaged malt product, which is a good product, don't get me wrong, but there's absolutely no control of it. It's you get what's in
following the
this
recipe.
can. This is the body of your beer, the head retention, the mouthfeel, the flavor. That's all intertwined with the malt. So I, realizing this, said, okay, well, how can I take and make my own?
That's a great way to learn the process, but
Yeah.
it doesn't allow much room for flexibility.
Exactly. And most of the process
Creativity.
behind brewing isn't that boiling point that extract brewers get, and it's still fun, and I enjoyed it immensely. I still enjoy it, but it's that mashing in certain enzymes, certain temperatures, certain grains, certain flavors, you know, and then experimenting. You can throw hops in different stages now. It doesn't have to be right where this person said or where that guy recommended. You can do whatever you want, you know.
Yeah.
Trial and error, and that passion fueled the trial and error, and the trial and error fueled the passion. It's just this vicious circle of brewing, tweaking recipes, brewing, tweaking recipes, until eventually you do it enough times, you start to realize too much of this, not enough of that, you know, and you get an idea, just like cooking, as you said, you know.
Almost like forecasting, predicting what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Getting certain results.
I mean, when you're cooking, you kind of have an idea of what it's going to taste like before it's done.
Of course.
You wouldn't just throw, you know, Cajun into whipped cream and not expect it to taste like overly sweet Cajun, or, you know, maybe it's good, I don't know. But you got to have some idea of what that would taste like,
makes sense.
you know.
So what happened next? Was it? I know you're working for a restaurant brewing beer professionally. So
Yeah.
that's a really cool accomplishment and something most home brewers would love to do. So how did that come about?
Well, obviously, I think the home brewing dream is to be craft brewing, if not own your own brewery. I know that's the ultimate goal for just about all
Most,
of us
yeah.
out there. But living the dream is brewing for me. And the way that happens, I said, hey, you know, I was working the factory job. Oh, I worked third shift for a while. Even first shift when I worked that, it was still, you were a
You didn't
piece.
enjoy it,
No,
right?
you were just another number. You just went through the motions. You
Just-
got up in the
just
morning going,
making money,
I don't
paying
want to go
bills."
to work today. All this to collect money so that at the end of the week I could continue my pursuit of
So
brewing
you
beer.
Oh, gotcha.
So I asked myself, what do you want to do with life? You know, this isn't for you. You're not happy. You know, so I said, let me pursue brewing. How do I do that? I looked it up online. I said, what is there? And there's actually college courses, schools, diploma programs, everything out there for the brewer who wants to go big now. So I went to school at the local college, and I took an interest in brewing science. Took an internship at the brew pub here locally. And from there, it just happened perfectly where my third shift job just wasn't really working out, and we were starting to ramp up and get into the idea of distribution, canning, all those, you know, bigger ideas. And there was a need for a craft brewer. I was already there as my internship.
And you were working hard, so give yourself some credit.
I mean, my internship ended, and obviously I wanted to finish out the day. It was fun. I wasn't really worried about the money. So I worked 4 hours, came downstairs, and the owner was like, we'd like to make you full-time and start paying you for your hours. And I was like, awesome.
You're like,
the last 2 were free. I'm going to tell you. But, you know, that's just, I was lucky enough to find someone else passionate.
That's awesome.
Pursue it.
Congrats.
And then obtain it.
That's awesome. So in the last couple moments we have here, what's your go-to style right now? If one style pops in your head, what is it?
My go-to style right now is definitely Berliner Weisses.
I knew you were going to say that.
The sour Berliner Weisses, the sharp, tart flavors is what I'm digging right now, you know?
Yep. I could go for a good brown right now, but
very different.
Seems like they're not in season right now, maybe in a month or two.
Yeah.
Or we'll say 3 months.
They're coming up.
3 months.
Coming up.
All right.
You know?
Well, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to That Beer Show, where we deliver some great content about the thing we all love, beer, and of course, about the people behind the craft of brewing. So thanks for tuning in, and tune in next time so we can show you some awesome interviews, some great tasting with some beers that you should probably consider checking out yourselves.